I want to watch a video that was brought to my attention last night, and it's a serious topic because I feel like maybe I have become an elitist. This video right here, Astross and Bungie are gatekeeping elitist. Second attempt. I guess he tried to upload the first one and maybe some stuff messed up, but 21 minutes long, and I seriously want to just break this down. No trolling here, guys. I actually want to see what he has to say here.
So this is take two on a bit of a D2 rant. A little background, I've been playing since Destiny 1. I started playing that on the, I think it was the PS3, was it? No, PS4. Maybe it was a PS3. Anyway, I started playing that about 3 months after Destiny came out. Been wanting to talk about him for a while, but I'm not really a presence online, so I kind of felt it was pointless. But then Astross released a video on December 20th titled "Let Me Be Elitist for Just One Moment Here," and he apparently revealed his true nature on that. I used to think he was a down-to-earth, cool guy. He just lit into people that he just felt were not on his level, and according to him, therefore don't deserve to have an opinion. But it just, watching that video a couple of times and the things he said and the way he said it, it really came across like he had been hiding his opinion of people that he felt were lower caliber players for a while. And
that's why I wanted to make that video, because, you know, I wanted to be honest with you guys, right? And so I didn't want the perception to be muddled, you know? Some of you think I joke when I say, quiet, the 11s are talking. It's not really a joke.
The things that really stuck out to me and really found offensive was him degrading anybody that was Guardian rank 10 or lower. That apparently, unless you're Guardian rank 11, you're just a whiner and you're no good, and you need to, as he said, get good, which I hate that argument. You're not.
Let me just say this. Hold on. To counter that argument, nothing terrifies me more than a Guardian rank 5 in comp. Oh my God. I see that shit across the battlefield. I know I'm about to get my ass cleaned. It happens every time. I see a 5 or 6 in comp. I am scared to death. I am shitting the bed. I see an 11. I'm like, yes, come on, baby. But I see them 5s up in there. Holy fuck.
Not a 12-year-old kid on a playground. You should not be telling people to get good. It's not always a skill issue. The other thing was that he said that unless you successfully complete a D1 raid, your opinion doesn't matter. I hate to break it to him, but skill level has nothing to do with being entitled to an opinion.
Okay, let me correct a few things. First up, I didn't say a D1 raid. I said if you have not been a day one, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe he said day one. I said if you have not been a day one raid, you should not have a say on the difficulty of the day one experience. All right. And you also shouldn't go in there and muddle boss mechanics. Right. I feel like there's a place for all players in the game, but the day one raid, or I guess in this case is I mean, we're already linked into 48 hours. The 48-hour experience, right? That needs to be a pinnacle, difficult experience. But after that, for everybody, right?
Basically, everybody that is paid for this game and plays this game is entitled to opinion. He may not agree with it.
Everyone's entitled to opinion. I'm just going to say that some opinions are more important.
Their opinion may be completely off the rails, but that doesn't matter. As a playing customer of this game, you are entitled to an opinion. End of. No debating that. And him thinking that you only can have an opinion if you're an elite player is just ridiculous.
Again, on the day one raid experiences, yes, I feel like players that are on that upper end should have a say on the day one or day two experience, right? I know I'm kind of like repeating myself at this point. I'm trying not to come off as, because I really do want, I think it's important to assess, because there are many players that have never successfully cleared a day one. I'm coming from a place that is also, like I have also failed in a day one. And I know exactly why we failed in some of those day one experiences, but I have failed during day ones. And, you know, I didn't get mad that it was hard. I actually loved how difficult it was. I remember those raids vividly. I want to actually get back to that. Nothing feels better than squeaking right past the finish line, right at the deadline. Like, you know what I mean? And I've always said it too, man. If you're not bitching at your teammates, you're not really raiding, dude. If you're not ready to, there's so many times I'm ready to fucking kill less. I am just ready to kill less. Sometimes I just want to cut everything off and just leave and never play this game ever again. And that's when you know you're having a fantastic day one experience.
So, you know, Bungie, for a company that says they don't support or don't approve of gatekeeping, I'm going to talk about several things that they have done that basically is gatekeeping. Pretty much all the changes they make to this game cater to the higher skilled players because a lot of the Bungie creators are higher skilled players. And they just seem to think that the lower tiered players don't matter. Their experience shouldn't matter. And then they wonder why they're having so much problems, and you'll see why that's an issue and why Bungie keeps having issues, but apparently they're just clueless to it. That's part of the situational blindness, which is something I'll talk about. That's basically where you're, to put it into like a layman's terms or phrase, can't see the forest for the trees. Situational blindness is, I'm with this group of people, this is all I see, nothing else really matters. Like it's not there, I can't see it. Oh, I play with high skilled players, this is our experience, your experience doesn't matter because you're not in our group. And that's just a horrible way to get through life and to think of things.
I will say, we do tend to try to make a lot of builds that we could take into LFG environments with random people. But do I play with good players? Yeah, I mean, we play with good players for sure. There's so many times like when we review things, like whether it's a build or like we review Checkmate Trials, I played, you know, 2 entire cards flawlessly and it was as a solo player because I cannot in good faith review a game mode like Checkmate Trials when I'm rolling in there with Frostbolt and Grenader Jake, right? I mean, that's deceptive as hell. So I think it is important to go in there as a solo, get that experience, and then you're able to assess things accurately.
So the 2 sites I got this information from is, the first is mmopopulation.com and then LightGG. So I'm going to start with the population numbers. For Destiny 2 is ranked 6 out of 140 MMOs with an estimated population across all platforms of 44.66 million players. So the top 10%, that's only 4.466 million, leaving 40.184 million players. Those players have as much as an opinion as those 4 million.
There's a difference between accounts and active players. We don't have an active 44 million players. There's a lot of people that picked up Destiny as like a free-to-play player when Shadowkeep dropped. There's also a lot of people that picked up Destiny 2 when it first dropped, but they don't continue playing, right? This is like RuneScape. RuneScape has, and don't get me wrong, RuneScape has a very thriving player base, but the number they always put up is like how many accounts they have, right? But not all of those are active players, and then you got alt accounts and things like that.
Further breaking down, the daily estimated player base is 424.26 thousand. So that would leave, just if it was just the top 10% playing, that would only be 42.426 thousand players. The bottom 90% would be roughly 381,000.834 players. Based on those numbers, if only the top 10% played Destiny, it would drop from 6th to 29th place. And if Aztecross thinks that this game would get even a fraction of the support and new content that it does get now, if it dropped to 29th and it was just he and his cohort that were playing, he's delusional. So more than he likes to admit, the 90% have, if not the same amount of right to an opinion. Financially speaking, they have more of a right because they're the ones carrying the cost of this game. So now I'm going to get into content numbers, like difficulty, showing how the difficulty keeps increasing. Then we start dropping.
My brother's got a notepad out. Y'all hear that paper flipping? I mean, look. He came prepared.
As you can see, it's fewer and fewer. Now, I'm not saying everybody should be able to do Flawless or Master. I'm just saying they keep making this content harder and harder, meaning fewer and fewer people are going to be able to complete this stuff. Or even attempt it. It's some people, because it just gets frustrating when you're just dying constantly.
That's the beautiful thing. You're dying constantly. You know, when a Dragus got his dick in my face, it is in that moment that something awakens in me. And I know that I have to get good. Like there's only one way out of this. If I want to remove this giant dreg dong from my peripherals, I must get good. Let me also just say this. Destiny is a game that if you want to succeed at it, you have to build craft. I mean, you have to acquire the pieces, acquire the fragments and aspects and the exotics and make a build. You can't just go in there and hide behind a rock and just plink enemies and expect to beat that encounter. So you have to lean into builds. And that's the beautiful part of Destiny. And what's so amazing is we have people that share out builds, whether it's Mac or Plunder or a number of other content creators that make build videos all the time. Dude, just picking up one of their builds will change the game for you. You are able to, with a click of a button, slot that build out and dim and run with it. And obviously some builds work better in different environments, but that's the beauty of Destiny.
Because you're not an esoteric or top tier player.
Again, he's saying you have to be, you don't have to be esoteric to you, with the right build. If you are a meta hoe, you can squeak past that finish line. How do you think I get past this finish line? Huh? You think there's some amazing skill that's acquired here? No, we've been hoeing out for the meta for years now. The first thing I do at the beginning of every season is I go, okay, where is it? Where's the meta? And we find it. And then we exploit it to the fullest, whether it's cheese or the meta.
Another issue, and this is now we're going to start getting into the gatekeeping. Exotic armor pieces are mandatory. They're part of the end game meta builds, and they are required pretty much for successful runs. Not having access to that armor is a form of gatekeeping. And it makes it even harder for people to even attempt endgame content, never mind to successfully beat it. So, for example, I took 4 Lost Sectors, 2 from Earth, because they were the first and the easier ones, and then 2 from Neomuna. So on Earth, Vale's Labyrinth has a solo flawless completion of 37%. Exodus Garden 2A, solo flawless 44%. Exodus Garden 2A is one of the shortest Lost Sectors and arguably the easiest, or one of the easier ones. Still, even at 44%, that means 56% of the population hasn't done it.
You can't base it on those percentages. Like, those percentages don't... Okay.
Now, that may be a skill issue. It may also just be a time issue, and it also may be just the frustration with it. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Neomuna Hydroponics Delta, solo flawless completion 11%. Thrilladome, solo flawless 16%. So that's you're talking 89% and 84% of the population haven't soloed flawless, or solo. Those weren't even flawless.
Because they're not all active players, dude. They're not, like, these numbers don't make sense to begin with. They're not all active players.
And unfortunately, Bungie moved exotics to completing solo legendaries. And so that means there's a huge chunk of the population, anywhere from 50 plus up to as much as possibly 89% of the population, missing out on exotics that are crucial to trying to attempt endgame because Bungie...
Okay, I think we're gonna stop it right here. One of the best changes Bungie ever made was targeting loot. Having Lost Sectors drop exotics was one of the best changes that Bungie's ever done. Also, exotics have never been more plentiful than they are currently now in Destiny. I don't know about you, I have so many exotic engrams. And then we have Vex Incursion, which also drops exotics. The fact that you can target loot these things, this was not a gatekeeping move by Bungie. This was a, hey, you want that chest piece? You want that helmet? Go do it. It's going to rotate in on these Lost Sectors. You can go target loot it. We've got a knockout system in Vex Incursions, and we're going to flood you with exotic engrams. I have never had more exotics than what I have right now. They are literally everywhere. Matter of fact, I would argue and say that they drop way too often. But if you think we need to go the round of dropping exotics from public events, you're going to have a D2 vanilla on your hands. And the game almost died. That is not the route to go. At the same time, the pendulum swung the other way, where Bungie was like, hey, you're going to buy Forsaken, and you're not going to get One-Eye Mass for a year and a half. That's too much. RNG's too harsh there. Right? So I think they found a good middle ground here, right? We're gonna stop right there, guys. I wanted to watch this video because obviously I'm in the title, and so I just wanted to see where I'm being called out for being an elitist. I think that everyone has, they can put their opinions out there, but in regards to the day one experience for raids, I think that should be reserved for the folks that do successfully navigate those waters. And I don't think the content should become easier to get those percentages higher. If you want to do something that there's opportunities to play the game in easier environments for you, you can go play Hero or whatever the lower levels are. You can play just Legend. you can go play patrols. But things like Grandmasters, solo dungeons, the day one raid experience, those things should not be made easier. And it's amazing how much easier the game will get for you if you just learn to build craft. If you adopt a good build and you start learning to build craft, the game opens up so much more for you. And that's the magic of any game. When you're like, oh my God, this is such difficult content. And then suddenly you're like, but wait, when I put this together and this together, oh my God, I'm navigating these waters. I'm doing good. I'm popping off. That's it, man. That's what gets me to game. If the game was stupid easy, I wouldn't be playing it.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.